I was suddenly hit by a car on my way to a prenatal checkup, and when I woke up, the baby in my womb was dead. Heartbroken, I cried all day, only to discover by chance that the accident was orchestrated by my husband. He had deliberately tampered with the brake system just to obtain the umbilical cord blood from my unborn child, in order to save his ex-wife's son who had leukemia. After their child was saved, he grew up healthy and strong, and the family lived happily ever after. But my child passed away without even seeing its mother, and I was left disabled from the car accident, unable to care for myself. When I went to confront them, I was humiliated, insulted, and beaten to death by the two. When I opened my eyes, I found myself reborn on the day of the prenatal checkup. This time, I gently touched my unborn child and silently swore, since fate has let us live, then let them die. Faye, I have something to attend to today. Will you be okay going to your prenatal checkup alone? As soon as I opened my eyes, my husband Seth Gu was looking at me with concern. I found myself curled up on the sofa, surrounded by soothing piano music. The heavy belly transmitted faint fetal movements, while my completely numb disabled legs were now keeping rhythm with the kicks. But didn't I already? A glance at the calendar on the wall, I understood instantly. I was reborn, and it happened to be the day I went back for my prenatal checkup. This day would be the moment my soul descended into darkness. What's wrong? Is the baby kicking you again? Seth Gu saw me clutching my stomach and affectionately wrapped his arms around me, whispering in my ear, "No, I'll be fine going by myself. I'll go back to my room and pack first." Thinking about everything from my past life, I felt a wave of nausea and instinctively pushed him away. On my way back to the bedroom, I took advantage of his distraction and brought his usual backpack into the room with me. After packing my clothes, I faintly heard Seth Gu's impatient voice from the living room. "Can you stop rushing me? You're anxious." "But I'm even more anxious than you are. All of Sichuan City is under my control. Where can she run to?" "Don't worry, in the previous life," he explained, that the person who owed the debt had run away. But now I know clearly, the person on the phone was his ex-wife, Elsu. Their 8-year-old son has leukemia and wants to use the umbilical cord blood from the fetus in my womb to save his life. Knowing that I still have 2 months until my due date and would never agree to an early C-section, they've been scheming against me in every possible way. As I pushed the door open and stepped out, Seth Gu hurriedly stuffed the phone into his pocket and lit a cigarette. When he saw the luggage in my hand, he frowned. "Honey, why are you bringing that for your prenatal checkup?" "What, of course, it's to guard against you, the devil." But I still explained kindly, "There are still 2 months left until the due date, so I want to visit my mom after the prenatal checkup. It'll be even more inconvenient later on." Seth Gu seemed somewhat hesitant. He stood by the window, gazing at the distant parking lot, then exhaled a large cloud of smoke after a moment. "All right then, I'll take you there." Seth insisted on seeing me off to the car. He placed the luggage in the trunk, and as I got into the car, he gave a few instructions to the driver, Xiao Liu. When his phone rang, it must have been Elsu calling to hurry him again. He left in a rush. "Madam, please fasten your seatbelt," Master Liu reminded me with a smile. I snorted. "Is buckling up really going to keep us safe? What? Do you want the 3 of us, you, me, and the baby in my belly, to at least look decent when we die?" Master Liu was taken aback, probably not expecting me to be so blunt. He lowered his head, looking somewhat flustered and at a loss. "Madam, I know you don't mean what you say," I interrupted him. "How much did Seth pay you to harm me?" "I'll double it." "What money?" To be honest with you, my wife is about to have cancer surgery, and I'm in a hurry to get home, although I don't understand why Mr. Gu specifically asked me to drive faster. I thought, no matter how urgent it is, I must get you and the young master to your destination safely. Master Liu came from the countryside, honest and kind-hearted. He rubbed his hands together, not seeming to be lying. Memories of the previous life involuntarily surfaced in my mind. The car lost control while turning, and Master Liu desperately pulled the handbrake, causing it to flip over and get rear-ended. He died on the spot, and I was left disabled. During the vehicle inspection, they said there was an issue with the braking system. I feel something is off because the car was just serviced a few days ago. After some investigation, I found out that Seth Gu had tampered with it. While checking the accounts, I discovered that Gu Xing gave Master Liu's wife a substantial condolence payment. So I've always believed that Master Liu intended his death to secure money for his wife's medical treatment, but now I finally understand, he was also deceived by Seth Gu. Seth Gu is truly something. To absolve himself completely, he didn't hesitate to sacrifice innocent people by faking a car accident. Thinking of this, I stuffed the bank card into Master Liu's pocket. There's 500,000 in here, you don't need to see me off. Go home, your wife must need you right now. I just hope you can keep this a secret for me. Master Liu refused to accept it no matter what. I forced the bank card into his pocket and pushed him out of the car. He knocked on the car window, tears welling up in his eyes. Madam, you are a good person. You and your child will be safe and well all your lives. Yes, we will, we certainly will. I hurriedly pushed my luggage along the path, hearing rustling sounds behind me. It was Seth Gu's bodyguards. It seems my every move is under his control, no matter what. They were determined to make their move today. The Gu family's influence is vast. Fleeing would be futile. As long as the wicked live, there will never be peace. I caressed my belly, soothing the unborn child I had yet to meet but already deeply cherished. In my past life, I failed to protect both you and myself, letting the villains have their way. But rest assured, in this lifetime, I will definitely make them pay with their lives. I hailed a taxi and deliberately raised my voice. Driver, to the Provincial Maternal and Child Health Hospital. Inside the private consultation room, Dr. Sun looked grave after reviewing the 4D ultrasound. Miss Fu, please sit here and rest for a while. I'll be back shortly. As he spoke, he thoughtfully handed me a glass of warm water. I took a small sip. After he left, I spat the water back out. Then I frantically rinsed my mouth with mineral water and poured it all onto the flowers on the balcony. In my past life, I was betrayed by those closest to me. In this life, I trust no one. I sent the secretly recorded 4D video to my biological sister. She is also an excellent obstetrician. Sis, the fetus is fine. Everything's normal. What's wrong? Sure enough, Dr. Sun had been bribed. I'll tell you when we get back. I calmly took out my earphones from my bag. In the morning, I returned to my room and deliberately sewed the listening device into the inner layer of the bag Seth Gu often carried. From the listening device came El Su's tearful voice. When is the surgery? Nan can't wait any longer. Dr. Sun stammered. Mr. Gu, I saw Miss Fu drink the medicated water, but the fetus is very healthy. If we perform a cesarean section 2 months early, the baby will most likely not survive. Seth Gu seemed hesitant. Can't we think of another way? Other options? If there were other options, would I even be here begging you? El Su's voice was urgent. Even if she loses the baby, can't she just have another one? But I can't have children anymore. Nan is my life. If anything happens to him, I won't live either. These words made me so angry that my teeth itched with hatred. Just because she can't bear children, she wants to take my child's life. I don't understand what you're hesitating about. Could it be that you feel sorry for her? El Su cried uncontrollably. Gasping for breath, Seth Gu's voice was icy. Of course not. I'm just worried that forcing the issue might escalate the situation and tarnish our Gu family's reputation. But now I can't afford to care about that anymore. Dr. Sun, prepare for the surgery. After listening to their conversation, I immediately called the police. The phone had barely been hung up when the sound of footsteps echoed down the hallway. I pretended to faint and lay on the hospital bed. The door opened, and Seth Gu, afraid I might wake up, suggested Dr. Sun give me another shot. I suddenly opened my eyes, startling Dr. Sun who was holding the needle. How did you? He looked at the empty cup on the table, somewhat puzzled. Turning hostile wouldn't benefit me. Buying time was the best option. I dozed off while waiting. How is the child doing now? When I saw Seth Gu behind him, I feigned shock. Oh dear husband, what brings you here? Didn't you have something to attend to? Truly someone who's seen big scenes before. Seth Gu remained composed. Without a change in expression, he sat beside me, placing a hand on my shoulder with a face full of sorrow. Dr. Sun said the baby's condition isn't very good, so I came over immediately, seizing the opportunity. Dr. Sun quickly added, Yes, Miss Fu, I called Mr. Gu earlier because I was afraid you might not be able to handle it. The child has congenital heart disease. We strongly recommend that you consider terminating the pregnancy. What, Faye? I also found this news very hard to accept at first, but I think, like me, you wouldn't want the baby to suffer after being born, right? Just imagining him having to live on medication, unable to engage in strenuous activities, even running would be dangerous. It's too cruel. We can't be that selfish. If it weren't for being reborn, perhaps I would have been deceived by his strong arms and perfect acting. But now, I see through his hypocrisy and feel nothing but disgust. I shook my head. Honey, isn't heart disease treatable? The GU family is wealthy and powerful. Wouldn't it be easy to get the child a heart transplant? You know he's been in my belly for 8 months. At first, I couldn't eat due to morning sickness, then I couldn't sleep night after night. I've suffered so much. But I endured it all. We've listened to his heartbeat together, named him, and joyfully awaited his birth. How can you really bear to give him up now? I practically spat out those last 3 words through gritted teeth. Sethgu's face turned ashen and grim. Of course I can't bear to. But, stop it, are the test results accurate? Could it be that the baby hasn't developed enough due to the early stage? Can't we just wait and observe a bit longer? Sethgu kept a straight face, still trying to persuade me. I kept reasoning with him patiently. Unexpectedly, the door suddenly slammed open. Elsu burst through the door, clutching a gleaming silver fruit knife. Sethgu, why are you still wasting words with her? If she won't agree to a C-section, then I'll help her along. With that, she charged toward me. Sethgu quickly stepped in to stop her. Elsu struggled in vain and fell to her knees with a thud, pressing the knife's tip against her own throat. Sethgu, do I and Nan both have to die before your eyes for you to make up your mind? Her weeping was utterly heart-wrenching, pitiable to behold, moved. Sethgu helped Elsu to her feet. In his eyes, Elsu was a good mother, but I knew she was selfish and cruel-hearted after the 2 of them caused my child's death. I learned the truth and confronted them. She slapped me hard and mocked. My son is the eldest of the GU family, and your bastard is nothing more than a vessel to prolong my son's life. Fearing I would cause trouble, she and Sethgu pushed me down the stairs, killing me on the spot. But judging by the current situation, Sethgu won't let her act impulsively. I withdrew my hand from the bag where I was about to pull out a switchblade, pretending to be frightened and hiding behind Sethgu. Honey, what is she saying? Sethgu noticed the faint traces of blood on Elsu's neck. A bit flustered, he grabbed my wrist and said, Faye, be good, we really can't keep this child. We'll have another one. No, I don't agree. I bit his hand with all my strength. Sethgu winced in pain but didn't let go, giving Dr. Son a meaningful look. Don't just stand there, hurry up. Seeing this, Elsu also got up to help. Several people held me down firmly, just as the sedative was about to be injected. The police arrived. Barefoot, I ran to them, pointing at the people inside the room with tears and sobs. It was them who wanted to murder me and the child in my womb. Inside the police station, the officer from the forensics department handed me the test results. MS. Foo. The residual liquid in the cup wasn't a sedative, it was a calming and soothing medication. Dr. Son said that water wasn't for you, but we can't tell if it's true or not. I pointed at Sethgu. But he forced me to have a C-section. Sethgu pointed at my belly and laughed. That's my flesh and blood too. How could I possibly force you to have a C-section? I pointed at Dr. Son. They were in cahoots, saying my baby had congenital heart disease and suggested I terminate the pregnancy. But I consulted relevant professionals, and my child is perfectly healthy. Dr. Son pondered for a moment. MS. Foo, if you suspect there's an issue with my diagnosis, you're welcome to request a re-examination. There's no need to involve the police. I turned around again and pointed at Elsu. What about her? Charging into the ward with a knife trying to kill me. Elsu was utterly aggrieved. Fei Fu, how can you make such unfounded accusations? I was just desperate to save my son and wanted to ask Sethgu, his biological father, for help. She pointed at her own neck, and clearly this knife was aimed at myself. Okay, the 3 of them gave consistent statements, corroborating each other's accounts, as if I were the one with paranoia. After leaving the police station, everyone got into the car and left. Sethgu frowned and said, Faye, since you already know everything, why are you still pretending? The one pretending is you, isn't it? He furrowed his brows and lowered his voice. Faye, I was wrong to lie to you, but Nan really needs the cord blood. Can you stop being so willful? It's just one unborn child. If you want, we can have 10 more. Like hell I would. How utterly despicable that sounds. Life exists both before and after birth. Nan has seen the vast world for 8 years. Yet the child in my womb was killed by them before even getting to see its own mother. I looked straight into Seth Gu's eyes. What if I disagree? His gaze was as deep as a pool, his voice icy and piercing. What Seth Gu wants, Seth Gu gets. You have no choice, Fei Fu. Don't force me to take drastic measures against you. Since we've come this far, then don't blame me. I instantly switched to a smiling face and hooked my arm through his. Seth. You know I love you very much and am willing to do anything for you. So why didn't you just say so earlier? Why go through such a roundabout way? You're right, it's not like we can't have another child. I promise you, I'll give Nan the umbilical cord blood. But you have to agree to one condition. Seth Gu didn't expect me to agree so readily. Name your condition. A villa, a luxury car, it's all within reach, she frowned. But, are you really willing to have a C-section 2 months early? I looked troubled. What if I'm unwilling? But Nan is also your son. My condition is also simple. I don't trust domestic doctors. I want to go abroad to seek foreign specialists. I wasn't wrong in saying that. Foreign countries are always more advanced in such unconventional technologies. Seth Gu immediately agreed to my terms. He booked the flight tickets overnight and boarded the plane with me, heavily pregnant, and Su and her child. Inside the cabin, Nash Gu, wearing a mask and physically exhausted, looked at me with eyes full of hostility. He whispered to Su, "Mom, what if she changes her mind? I'm so scared of dying abroad." Su patted the frail man to comfort him. "Don't worry, if she dares to play tricks, your father will make her and the bastard in her womb accompany you in death." I closed my eyes with a cold smile, gently stroking my belly. Oh, my baby, they probably still don't know. The moment they boarded that plane, their lives were already counting down. The plane landed in Chicago. Seth Gu immediately bought 2 villas. To prevent me from slipping away, he had over 20 bodyguards protect me outside the villa. At night, while he was taking a shower, I managed to get hold of his phone. The above is his chat history with Su. Seth, after we collect the cord blood, we'll remarry. No matter how much she protests, it won't change anything. Seth Gu, of course, if it weren't to save Nan. Why would I have gone through a fake divorce with you and married her? No wonder Su said my child was just a vessel for saving someone. Back when they were fighting, Seth Gu wanted to provoke her by pursuing me under the pretense of being single, using his father's death less than 3 years prior as an excuse. He refused to hold a wedding for me. After finding out I was pregnant, he suddenly disappeared. Not long after, he confessed he wasn't actually divorced yet. For the sake of our child, I accompanied him to finalize his divorce and then married him. It turned out that Nan had already been diagnosed with leukemia at that time. Keep scrolling down, she won't have the chance to make a fuss anymore. Didn't she want to come abroad? Then let her stay here forever. It seems Seth Gu readily agreed to let me come abroad because he didn't want me to return. I smirked and changed the expert appointment he had scheduled to my brother-in-law his number. Then I sent a message to my younger sister, Fu Rongrong. "Are you ready?" My sister replied quickly, "Sis, let's do this." My dimly lit phone screen reflected my faint smile. Good. The show is about to begin. Nash Gu's condition has worsened. The surgery was moved up a few days ahead of schedule. I suggested going out for a walk. Seth Gu firmly disagreed, fearing any mishaps that might ruin the plan. I pouted with a grievance. "I want to buy some clothes for the baby." His expression remained unchanged. With a tearful voice, I stroked my belly. If the baby really couldn't stay and left, how heartbroken he would be knowing his father wouldn't even spare him a piece of clothing. "What if he comes looking for you later?" I whispered while blowing gently behind his ear. Seth Gu's arm instantly broke out in goosebumps. He looked visibly uncomfortable. Didn't the experts say that giving specific medication 2 months premature would stimulate cell growth, and the baby would survive healthily? I sneered. As if such a miracle drug really existed, what mother wouldn't want to deliver her child as soon as possible? But it was just my brother-in-law making things up. Perhaps fearing I might change my mind midway, he picked up the clothes and called all the bodyguards in. "It's just a piece of clothing." For the Gu family, buying an entire mall is as easy as turning over a hand. We should have left long ago. Although Seth Gu was unwilling, He agreed anyway, afraid that I might make a scene. Inside the mall, even though I was pregnant, I still managed to shop for over an hour. Seth Gu was getting impatient. I smiled, shaking his arm playfully, and cooed, "Just one last thing, then we'll go home." Holding a maternity outfit, I headed into the fitting room under his weary gaze. "Sis, it's been 10 years. I've missed you so much." As soon as I entered, my younger sister Fu Rongrong hugged me tightly. In the cramped fitting room, the mirror reflected two identical faces. Except one had a pregnant belly, and the other didn't. That's right, my sister Fu Rongrong and I are twins. No one can tell us apart except for our parents. Plus, Fu Rongrong is easygoing and plump, making her look exactly like me during my pregnancy. Seth Gu knows I have a biological sister living abroad, but I never told him that we look exactly alike. Didn't he secretly switch my baby in his previous life? Well, in this life, I'll pay him back in his own coin. Rong. Aren't you the least bit suspicious about my reincarnation? Fu Rongrong quickly applied my makeup and tied the fake pregnancy belly around her waist. "Sis, on the day you died, I had a dream. I dreamed that Seth Gu tampered with the brakes, causing you to suddenly crash. They weren't in a hurry to operate on your blooded body, but instead rushed to perform a C-section to take the baby first. Later, you couldn't move an inch in your wheelchair, and that despicable couple pushed you down the stairs. Your blood and your nephew's blood stained the entire dream red. We were all crying, but they were laughing." Fu Rongrong gritted her teeth. "That scumbag and that bitch, those murderers, they deserve to die," but I was still somewhat worried about her and Chi-hee. Fu Rongrong held my hand. "Sis, we're not afraid. In America, anything done for freedom can be understood." The day of the surgery, I was pushed into the delivery room. Elsu let out a sigh of relief, hooked her arm through Seth Gu's, and sneered, "Fei Fu really loves you, doesn't she? Too bad she's not the brightest, and you're quite heartless. Not even a bit of pity for her. She's just a plaything. How could she compare to you?" The nurse said Nan's nosebleed wouldn't stop, and she needed to enter the isolation ward immediately. Elsu, uneasy about the bodyguard, gritted her teeth and instructed Seth Gu, "Keep an eye on Fei Fu. Once we get the umbilical cord blood, everything will be over." Before entering the ward, she encouraged Nash Gu, "Don't worry, son, Mom and Dad will be waiting for you when you come out." But what no one expected was, the me who had been in the delivery room, about to undergo a cesarean section, suddenly vanished from the operating table. Seth Gu went insane. He frantically rummaged through the operating room, cursing loudly. The bodyguards immediately checked the surveillance footage at the entrance, but aside from a few masked nurses coming in and out, no pregnant woman had exited. With bloodshot eyes, he roared at the hospital director, "Where is the person? How could a living person just vanish?" The director couldn't understand what madness he was spouting and directly called the police. This surgery was originally a cross-departmental private procedure, and he had promised the specialist to keep it confidential. Officially, it was declared as a normal bone marrow donation, but in reality, it was an umbilical cord blood treatment. But Elsu cried and begged Seth Gu to find someone. Seth Gu had no choice but to reveal everything. The dean mumbled something, and the interpreter explained, "The dean says the expert you mentioned went abroad for further study yesterday." Seth Gu was dumbfounded, collapsing to the ground with a face as pale as dirt. "Then who was the one who kept in touch with me and promised the surgery?" Elsu slapped Seth Gu hard across the face. "Seth Gu, can't you do anything right? Making an appointment with the wrong doctor is one thing, but how could you lose such a big, living person?" Even as the police pulled her away, she continued to shout at the top of her lungs, Nan has already entered the isolation ward. If we can't find Fei Fu, he won't make it, he won't make it." Seth Gu, covering his swollen and reddened face, anxiously grabbed the police officer. "My wife has inexplicably disappeared in this hospital, and she's pregnant. Please help me find her quickly." The officers conducted a thorough search of every department but found nothing. Seth Gu was so desperate he wanted to tear open the delivery room floor, but they didn't know. After entering the operating room, Fu Rongrong took off the fake pregnancy belly, changed into a nurse's uniform, and swaggered out. "She just came in and is complaining to me about how unbearably stuffy the fake pregnancy belly was." Soon after, her brother-in-law Chi-hee also returned, carrying several bags of groceries. He tossed the snapped phone card into the trash and rolled up his sleeves to start preparing the vegetables. Aren't you craving hot pot, sis? Let's have it for lunch. This kind of surgery was unethical to begin with. So the police couldn't do anything about it, since I couldn't go out easily. Fu Rongrong took a long leave to stay with me. Weeks passed, and everything was fine on my end. On the other hand, from the bug, Seth Gu and El Su were arguing fiercely. It's all your fault for insisting on coming to America just because she said so. It's been a week now, and we still can't find her. What about Nan Nan? And you call yourself the CEO of GU Corporation. How could you mess up something so simple? Aren't you ashamed? Seth Gu grew somewhat impatient. Can you stop dawdling? Who knows how she just vanished into thin air, embarrassing me. Isn't it more embarrassing the way you're making such a scene? Even at her worst, Fei Fu wouldn't act like a shrew the way you are. El Su got so angry that she started fighting with him. Stop being crazy, will you? A loud slap was heard, and El Su burst into tears. Seth Gu, are you even human? How dare you hit me? Now you remember how good she was. Ha, fine. Then go find her and bring her back. Revive my son, and I'll make room for you too. Seth Gu remained silent for a long time. Moments later, the sound of fabric tearing could be heard. A wiretap. He sneered, his voice dripping with malice into the microphone. Fei Fu, you're listening, aren't you? Playing games with me. Heh, you've got some nerve. Do you want to find out what happens when you mess with me? I know you haven't gone back to your country. You're due in just over a month. Right, hide well. Give birth in secret. Just make sure I never find you. There was a sharp, piercing sound of static immediately after. Fu Rongrong covered her ears and frowned. Sis, Nash Gu probably won't last a month. Dragging him to death won't be a problem. But what about Seth Gu? He'll do everything he can to find us. I'm afraid he might harm you and my nephew. I glanced at the gun on the wall and smiled. See. Didn't he bring this upon himself? Nash Gu died 3 days before the due date. It was Chiha who found out at the hospital. I heard that when he died, his nose kept bleeding, and he weakly cried out, I don't believe in you anymore. El Su fainted on the spot. Seth Gu punched the door glass until it shattered. Fu Rongrong helped me prepare the essentials for childbirth. Sis, all the hospitals are under his control, and I heard Seth Gu has already searched the next street over. It's only a matter of days, perhaps afraid I'd worry. She picked up a tiny outfit and held it against my belly. But don't you worry, sweetheart, Auntie will protect you and Mommy even if it costs me this old life of mine. We had barely finished speaking. The landline in the room rang. It was Seth Gu. His voice was hoarse. Fei Fu is your twin sister, right? You two pulled off this body-switching act quite well, didn't you? Tell me where you live. I know this was all her idea. And I don't blame you, but she killed my son, and I want to ask her face to face. Fu Rongrong sneered. Don't blame me. Who the hell do you think you are? I haven't even asked you why you killed my nephew, and you have the nerve to question me. Seth Gu, if your conscience has been eaten by a dog, go ask the dog for it back. Okay, Seth Gu's voice trembled. Do you believe the Gu family will make you? Shut the hell up already. If it weren't for the Gu family patriarch leaving the family fortune to you, you'd be nothing. With your narrow-mindedness and twisted values, you're truly a disgrace to the Gu family. Fu Rongrong repeated my words verbatim, each sentence striking Seth Gu's Achilles heel. He hated nothing more than being told he was worthless and only relied on the Gu family. Fine. Then prepare to attend my son's funeral. Fu Rongrong spat out. Come on, you idiot. The call ended. Fu Rongrong went to check the surveillance cameras installed outside the courtyard again. She clapped her hands. Sis, not a single blind spot within a 100-meter radius, 360-degree coverage. Even so, my sister and brother-in-law still took turns keeping watch. The night before my due date, they arrived. The baby was restless in my belly, and I couldn't sleep well, so I went to the living room. Under the dim moonlight, the lights in the house remained off. Fu Rongrong and Chi He, seeing me come out, made a shushing gesture and simultaneously pointed at the surveillance monitor. On the screen, Seth Gu and El Su were surrounding the outside of my courtyard with over a dozen bodyguards. They wore sunglasses and were bundled up tightly. Then a few people broke the door lock and came in. The door was banged loudly by them. Chi He glanced at me and Fu Rongrong, asking, "Who is it?" "Here to take my wife home," I responded. "I don't want to go back with you." Just leave, Elsu cursed loudly, trying to provoke me into coming out. You damn bitch. You killed my son and still think you can live in peace. Come out now, or we're coming in. From a young age, Fu Rongrong never let anyone win in an argument. With a loud voice, she would roll up her sleeves and start hurling insults from a distance. And they were filthy. Oh wow, you're out late at night with someone else's husband. Calling other women sluts. Aren't you just pathetic? What the hell are you barking about? Your son deserved to die. Go ask the king of hell why. Elsu was fuming with anger, gasping for breath. You're the one who deserves to die. You're the one who should die. What are you standing there like an idiot for? Break down the door, drag them out. That foul-mouthed bitch. I'll slap her to death. The door was violently slammed, and we turned on the recording while shouting toward the outside. We've got guns. Don't throw your life away. A bodyguard seemed hesitant. President Gu, this is breaking in to kidnap someone, Elsu said sarcastically. If you're scared, then get lost, you useless piece of trash. Seth Gu curled his lips. They're just trying to scare people because they're afraid. Shoot. Does Fei Fu even have the guts to do that? Take Fei Fu back with you today, and I'll buy each of you a villa. The bodyguard's eyes lit up, instantly energized by the encouragement. They banged on the door loudly, but they didn't notice Seth Gu quietly pulling Elsu back a few steps. They might actually have pistols. Fei Fu wouldn't dare, but her brother-in-law is hard to say. If a fight really breaks out later, let's stand farther away. Elsu's eyes gleamed. True, you're quite thoughtful. Chi carefully took the gun off the wall. As he wiped the barrel, he muttered, thoughtful my ass. This is a shotgun. One blast can take out 8 or 10 of them. Let them try to come in. I'll turn them into minced meat. Seeing they wouldn't listen to reason, we had no choice but to grab our guns and stare sternly into the camera. We were sound asleep when someone started banging on the door like crazy, threatening to kill us. I didn't want to resort to this, but for self-defense, I had no choice. After a fierce impact, the door swung open. Several people rushed in instantly. The gun in Chi's hand fired with a loud bang, under the dim yellow light. Sparks flew everywhere. Several bodyguards were blasted far away, instantly collapsing motionless on the ground. The few who rushed in afterward didn't even have time to react before they all fell to the ground with a single gunshot. The beige floor was smeared with blood and flesh, a gruesome sea of crimson. Seth Gu and Elsu were stunned to see over a dozen people drop dead in an instant. They both collapsed to the ground in unison. Chi blew on the smoking barrel of his gun and handed it to me. Sis, these 2 main courses are for you. When disaster strikes, who isn't afraid of death? After I pointed the gun at the 2 of them, they both backed away. Elsu completely lost her earlier bravado. She knelt on the ground with a tearful voice. I was wrong. Fei Fu, spare me. I just lost my son and lost my mind. Please don't kill me. Seth Gu pretended to stay calm as he stood up. Fei, we were wrong. Let us go. I won't pursue those people's deaths. Let's forget about Nan Nan's matter. Can we just call it even? He watched me clutching my stomach, his voice trembling. And Fei, if you kill me, the child in your belly will have no father. I remained silent. Elsu seemed to have found a weak spot. She stood up, pushing Seth Gu forward while whispering, she won't have the heart to hurt you. Go grab the gun. Seth Gu thought I didn't hear him. He stood up and walked away while discussing me. Let's talk things out properly. Put the gun down. I know you can't bear to shoot me. Just as he thought he was about to succeed, I pulled the trigger. Bang! Indeed, the closer, the more accurate. Seth Gu's face instantly exploded. Under the moonlight, he lay twisted on the ground, dead in an instant. The recoil from the gun sent me staggering, but luckily Chi caught me. A sharp pain shot through my abdomen. While the 2 were busy checking on me, Elsu quickly got into the car and drove off. Fu Rongrong picked up the gun to chase after her, but Chi called out to stop her. Don't worry about her now. Let's get my sister to the hospital first. The baby's coming. The baby arrived a night early. It's a boy. My younger sister and her husband delivered the baby. Like me, very healthy and lively. I didn't give him the name we had previously agreed upon. Instead, I called him Fu Xinsheng. He is a new life, and so am I. The police waited outside the delivery room. My sister, Fu Rongrong, handled all the communication with the police. From the surveillance footage and the accounts of several neighbors who witnessed the incident, it was clear that a large group of them had forcibly entered our home. Our counteraction was justified. in the United States, there's absolutely no problem with shooting and killing a burglar. After seeing the police off, Fu Rongrong still felt somewhat displeased. What a shame, letting that woman get away. I patted her shoulder to comfort her. I believe the heavens keeping her alive will make her suffer more than death. Because the child needed to be registered after birth, I didn't stay long and returned to the country, before boarding the plane. Both Fu Rongrong and I were wiping away tears. We've caused you so much worry and even made you move homes. When are you coming back to China? I'll treat you and your brother-in-law to a meal. Fu Rongrong looked helpless. Sis, we've just settled down here. I'm not sure what we could do if we went back. Mom is getting older too. I want to earn more money for a few more years before going back. She placed the longevity lock around the newborn's neck, teasing him. Little one, make lots of money in the future. Your auntie is counting on you to support her. I waved the baby's tiny hand and said in a playful voice, no problem, auntie, I'll do my best. Fu Rongrong held me and sobbed for a long time, finally expressing some concern. Sis, you killed the Jiu family's only son. They'll definitely make things difficult for you. Maybe we should call the police now, have them meet you at the airport, and request additional officers for full protection. No need. I looked down at the newborn in my arms and smiled calmly. Having just him to protect is enough. He is the only bloodline of the Jiu family. What am I afraid of? Things went much more smoothly than I had imagined, although the elders of the Jiu family were deeply grieved. After learning the facts, they realized that no matter how much they struggled, the family property would all belong to the newborn, so they simply turned a blind eye. I patted the little one. It seems your aunt didn't place her hopes in the wrong person. Within a few months, Fu Rongrong and He moved their entire family back to China. Both of them had all the necessary certificates and qualifications in order. I bought them a villa and opened a private maternity hospital for them. On my mom's birthday, I took the newborn to the hospital to pick them both up. On the way back, they were laughing and playing with the newborn, full of joy, passing by the square. A group of elderly people were dancing to square music. Hearing the music, the newborn couldn't help but wiggle and dance in my arms. Nephew likes it. Let's go up and take a look. Just as we stepped onto the stairs, a figure rushed towards me. Fu Rongrong quickly pulled me aside. That person tumbled and rolled down the steps, and as luck would have it, a car was speeding by. The onlookers gasped in shock. We all rushed downstairs, in the twilight's afterglow. The person lying on the ground turned out to be El Su. Her face turned pale. She convulsed a few times, and then fainted. The leg was crushed and had already become deformed. It looks very similar to my previous life. On the day I returned to the country, Fu Rongrong accused El Su of trespassing. She spent a fortune to avoid litigation and return home smoothly, but without Seth Gu as her powerful backer, she lived a precarious existence. Today, she happened to run into me and, seeing our family happy and harmonious, wanted to perish together with me. The driver hurriedly got out of the car to call the police and an ambulance. Later, I heard she became disabled, unable to take care of herself, and had to rely on a wheelchair every day. Sometime after that, I saw her once more. On the day of the family photo, she was hunched over, struggling to pick up trash. Passers-by pointed and whispered. She used to be quite the glamorous figure. But later I heard she faked a divorce with her ex-husband to save their child with leukemia, tricked another girl into getting pregnant, and had the girl undergo a premature C-section to extract umbilical cord blood. In the end, her son didn't survive, her husband died, and now she's ended up like this. Well, she certainly brought it upon herself. So you see, people must keep their hearts in the right place, or heaven will surely repay them for their misdeeds. I lift my head. The sky is azure. Thank you, dear heavens, for granting me rebirth.